you have to. And I was so focused on, no, I'm going to work with kids with cerebral palsy. No, I don't want anything like to do with that. And look, you see where we are today. And of course, fan of your work. Um, and happy we met in Montreal finally, the first time a few years ago. Yes, but it's an honor for me to be here. And I should have listened to my professors back then.
Wow, perfect. Thank you.
Everybody from CUR, like CUR.
Good,
Yeah,
yes,
good,
yes,
yes.
of course.
Thank
Yes,
you,
we was
Mariana.
almost 20 years as a teacher in Kulka.
I
So,
know.
yeah.
I know. This is yeah, more than 20 years
So
for
nice
sure.
to see you here, huh?
Oh,
Yes.
wonderful. Okay, we're live
Okay,
on
so we're
YouTube.
live now. Let's get started. Welcome everybody to the BiotensegriTea party. We are an all-volunteer production on behalf of the Stephen M. Levin Biotensegrity Archive. And we are so excited and delighted to have Dr. Andrzej Pilat here with us today. Super exciting. We've got lots of people here on the call. Andrzej is going to be giving us a presentation on body movement, fascia, and biotensegrity. And excuse me, I was lucky enough to spend some time with you, Andrzej, and to meet you in person in New Orleans at the International Fascia Research Congress just this past summer. And so I've had a sneak peek at some of your beautiful photography and heard you talk about the things that I'm sure will be in today's presentation. And I know we're all in for a real treat. But to begin, we always like to open the BiotenSegri party with a toast. So I invite you to raise your glasses, everyone, and to make a toast to Andrzej and to every single person here, to biotensegrity, and to one of the things that Andrzej is doing, which is bringing the research with the practical applications, the science to movement folks, and primarily manual therapists and physiotherapists. So let's
And
begin.
also, was also Graham going to do a toast as well?
I'm sorry. I pass it over to you, Graham.
I was going to say much the same thing as you, Chris. So let's have a toast to biotensegrity and all these lovely people here to participate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I am so sorry, Graham.
No problem.
With that, I just want to maybe ask Susan or one of our other co-hosts to put the link for the donations to the Biotensegrity Archive into the chat here on Zoom and maybe on YouTube as well. And
I'll be able to do that in just a few minutes. And I just want to let people know that we will have very little time for questions at the end today. Dr. Pilat has asked that you put questions. If you put your questions in the chat, then everybody will see them. And then we will be grouping them together if that is possible to do so that we can get as much covered in the short time we have.
okay, thank you, Susan. Now, Andrzej, I was going to begin with a quick question for you. And we have had a bit of a discussion before we came online here. Maybe your answers are in your presentation. My question is, I'm really curious about how you first encountered biotensegrity and what drew you to these ideas.
Yes, this is a very interesting situation. I think that it will be normal that you ask me in the beginning with this question. So I have 3 slides to answer you.
Okay.
Yay!
Okay.
So I'm ready for any situation.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and share
Yes.
your screen?
I go to share. I go to start. Here. Sure. Just tell me if you have. Sorry.
I can see your slides, all of the slides.
Okay.
Then I can see
Perfect.
the big one. Can you
So
make it so we can see just the big one, or do you want us to see the little ones as well?
no, this is the big one. It's perfect.
We see the smaller ones on the bottom as well.
I don't know how
If
can
you
I
take your cursor up to the top where it says use slideshow, it might be under the Zoom bar.
swap.
No, yeah, see what happens if you click there.
Yeah.
There, that is perfect.
It's
Thank you.
perfect. So let's go.
Let's go.
This is the title, Body Movement, Fascia, and Biotensegrity. Biotensegrity is the end. And I think that it is logical situation and absolutely a logical follow-up of my ideas. So my presentation, I'm physical therapist, so manual therapist. I'm director of the Tupimek School of Myofascial Therapies close to Madrid in San en El Escorial, international university lecturer, and out of the book Myofascial Induction and Anatomical Approach from Handspring Publishing in 2022 and 2023. I'm also founding member of the Fascial Research Society. And I think that for our discussion today, it's very important. I performed the research on the anatomy of the fascia in no-embalmed cadaver. So I think that it's enough for you. And this is the question, your question, Susan. Where does my interest in biotensegrity come from? And this bio and tensegrity is a part because it's very important to follow up my discussion. I think that everybody knows this structure. And years ago, I asked myself this question. Why doesn't Leonardo da Vinci self-supporting bridge collapse? So this model always intrigued me. And this is the question many years ago. But today, in relation to this structure, I have other question. How does an efficient system use resources to achieve its goals? So I think that the fascia biotensegrity is possible with these these two activities to take in the end of my presentation answer to this question. The second very important issue related to this area was the book from Dr. Mai-Wen Ho, The Rainbow and the Worm, The Physics of Organism. Just two observations from this book. Ho describes life as a process of being an organizing whole that can transform energy, coordinate complex action quickly, grow, and reproduce. And the second part is most important for us. Biological phenomena do not conform to the current laws of thermodynamics because they are based on the transduction of electrical, and electromagnetic energy rather than the thermal energy. And for me, it was very important information. If I follow with my discussion, the tensegrity for the first time told me something about this, my friend, architecture, and told me what does it mean? What does it mean, tensegrity? Tensional integrity. So for me, it was very interesting observation. After that, I looked to the Buckminster Fuller structures, and it was very interesting for me because there are structure with low energy expenditure. But I asked my friend architecture, Michele Testa, but this is stiff. I need the movement. This is no model for me. So Michele told me, look for this one. And Kenneth Nelson put different kind of activities to these structures. The structure from Fuller, that was triangle. The structure from there are also triangles. But here we have movement. So for me, was very important issue because in this situation, the flexibility, the deformation, this is normal in the living body, as our body, for example. And years later, after this flexibility and deformation, of course, the observation from Donald Ingber and the dynamic from the cells for me was absolutely excellent. Dynamics of biological structures. This was my issue. And Michele Testa, my friend, told me something more. With this very simple subject, he demonstrated me that the movement all the time, anytime, it's the whole movement. The whole structure is in the movement. So I start here with my thinking in relation to the systemic response. And I think that in relation to the fascia, we are looking for the system. We are looking for the systemic response. Of course, after this information from these three persons, the article from Donald Ingber in Scientific American, The Architecture of Life, was so exciting for me. And not just this article, but other papers from Ingber with cell structure and the movement. Just a few points in relation to this area. Tensegrity in cells, cytoskeleton as a tensegrity network. This word network is very nice for me. Mechanotransduction, why it's so important, and hierarchy of tensegrity. After that, implication for body movement, and this was my point. After that, looking to the internet, searching to the information about integrity, Carlos Castañeda and Don Juan and Magical Paces. What's that? And the other situation, tensegrity roof from gas station. They confuse me absolutely with the reason and with the research related to the tensegrity structure. And I find in the internet this web page from Dr. Stephen Levin. And this was so important information for me. Biotensegrity is a concept introduced by Dr. Stephen Levin that describes how biological structures such as the human body, this was my point, maintain stability and function through a balance of tension and compression similar to the architectural tensegrity models. And these models offer a more integrated and dynamic understanding of how the body maintains stability, moves efficiently, that's it, and adapts to stress, with fascia playing a crucial role in connecting and supporting all tissue. It was the first time when somebody with the knowledge of this issue tell me that the fascia is related to the tensegrity structure, or the tensegrity structure is related to the fascia. Thank you, Dr. Stephen Levin, for that. The next point was this one. During my teaching with the university students in physical therapy, manual therapy, craniosacral therapy, all the time with my brain, with my mind, what's happened with the school, cranial valve, diverse and complex cranial structures. Observe the difference design. Why so many design? This is the joint. This is the joint and any joint in other part of the body. Why this joint is so complicated? Which school model should be used in therapeutic process? Where can I find the answer? And I find this article from Graham Carr. Thank you, Graham. And also the books related later in relation to the biotensic structure. So in my daily process of my work with patients, this was and this still is very important question. What biotensegrity related physiological and therapeutic changes occur during myofascial induction therapy. This is my method of my approach in healing the person. When gentle, sustained force is applied, and the body guides the movement, not the therapist. The body guides the movement, and the physiotherapist follow this movement. So, from the beginning of my thinking, the touch is information. When I touch something, when I touch somebody, I receive the information. But this body, this person, also received the information. And after that, we observe the reaction. The reaction is functional response. And this response, this functional response, is the movement. Because of that, from this point of reasoning, I look for the model, and I think that the model that I show you now, it's correct. The manual stimuli during the treatment, what I can touch, the organism. But the organism have the organs. So the organs, it's impossible to touch it directly. But it's possible to feel, for example, the movement of the breathing, the movement of the heart rhythm, and so on and so on. So I think that it's normal that manual stimuli to organisms can change the organ response. And if we want to go deeper, maybe the cell, maybe the genome, maybe the molecule, and the response that I can feel with my hand after the treatment or during the treatment comes from biochemistry, signaling, metabolism, physiologic, and feedback to my hand. So this was the model for me. In 2003 and 2005, I published this book, Myofascial Induction, with Magro Healing Americana, and it was translated after that to Italian. And it was one of the very small amount of book in the market, in the international point of view. The book was very interesting. And in this book, for the first time, I put the information about the tensegrity, biotensegrity. So it was for me very difficult situation, because from the person from the person from the editorial, they told me that this is something that it's not serious. We are a very serious editorial. So I check with different person around the world, with my friends, and lately this chapter related to the tensegrity, it was present in the book. So it was very, very, very important point for me. After that, chapters in monographic publication of the subject of myofascial induction and manual therapy. Here is some of that. The most important book probably was from editor Leon Chaitov, a very important person for me to discuss the problem, the process of the fascia and the process during the treatment of myofascial induction therapy. And the turning point was the work during almost 10 years in Department of Anatomy in University in Buenos Aires with dissection from fresh cadavers. With my son, Martin Pilat, during this time, we studied the fascia in fresh cadaver. And this was so important for us to understand the movement, to understand the people, to understand the healing process, and so on, so on, and so on. In 2022 and 2023, I published this huge book with Handspring Publishing, and my idea was to revealing in this book the fascia architecture of human body. There are very big books between both volume, that's more than 5 kilo of weight. There are almost 750 pages. The paper inside the book is the very good quality. It's the paper as, for example, the atlas with photographic pictures, and there are 400 pictures of fresh cadaver anatomy. And these pictures, my idea was to show the inside beauty of the body. No cadaveric picture. There are really beautiful. I go to show you some of this picture, and really it was very long work to publish this book. But I think that I'm very happy with that. So this is the very short video. It's 1 minute related to this book. There are both volumes. A lot of graphic, look to the pictures, the very high quality. There are also videos related to the fascia. There are pictures. Look to the quality. I'm a photographer, so for me it was double pleasure, not just the dissection work, but also the photography work. So this is the book, and go to follow. So we start with the subject. The first part is the body movement. For me, if we need to discuss biotensegrity, discuss fascia, for me it's very important to define what is the body movement. And movement from this point of view reflects a person's functional abilities. And the movement involves metabolic and morphofunctional changes, structural increases, maturation, physical dimensions, motor, cognitive, psychological, affective, social, and spiritual activity. The definitions from APTA, this is a physical therapy organization in the United States, but I changed some words here. So from this viewpoint, I think that all the time we need to think that the movement is not only associated with the activity of the locomotor system. I think that the medicine, the general viewpoint from medicine is just this definition. I think this is the wrong observation. And from the other point, the movement emerges from the integrated interplay all components, rather than from the isolated function on individual structure. So I would like to propose you the model of the movement in relation to these subjects. The movement as embodied perception. So this is the picture from the book, from the first volume. I changed some things here. First of all, the exteroception, primary senses. Example, the sound, the light, the discriminatory touch. After that, proprioception, sense of movement. For example, the body location in space. And of course, the interoception, internal senses, the physiological condition of the body. What does it mean, each of this word? First of all, the percepts, and from the other side, also interferences. Just to define very shortly this two words, percepts, general rules intended to regulate behavior and or thought, and the inferences, steps in reasoning, moving from premise to logical consequence, to final movement. So in relation to the exteroception, I'm looking here to sensory prediction adjustment. And in relation to the proprioception, the motion, and of course the progress, the follow-up of the movement. And this means the kinesthetic and proprioceptive prediction adjustment. We have lately, in the last years, a lot of information in relation to the proprioception and fascia. And in relation to the interoception, that is so popular lately in medicine and physical therapy, emotions, sense of self, and autonomic response. And of course, interoceptive prediction adjustment. So this model, I think this is related of each of these factors contributes to movement within a healthy organism, a diseased state, and throughout the therapeutic process. So I think that in any part, in each of these parts, this model is present. And for me, personally, as professional in physical therapy, this model I have all the time in any patient when I treat. So it was very shortly just to define the body movement. The second part is the fascia. This is the challenge to define the fascia. How to define it? Look to the beautiful picture. Which model of fascia is most appropriate for us? For us, I take in mind the person who like the movement and try to understand the movement and treat through the movement. Is fascia actively involved in body movement? And of course, this question, can fascia function as biotensegrity structure? This is not an easy task. So I go slower now, step by step, and I go to try to answer to these three questions. I think that we now have four models or four definitions of fascia. First, fascia as a discrete anatomical system. The second one, fascia as compartmental and polyhedral fibrillar architecture. The third one, fascia as a stochastic morphogenetic field. And finally, fascia as a biological complex. And of course, the question, which model to choose? Which model is correct? So Houston, we have a problem. I would like to step by step, slowly discuss each of these models. So it's not an easy task. Why so many models and definitions? What happened here? Look to this cylinder. If I observe this cylinder from this side, in the wall, I can observe the circle. If I observe the cylinder from this side, I can observe of the wall the square. What happened here? Our perception and understanding of geometric shapes and the world around us are shaped by our perspective and the dimensions we can imagine. So I would like to start with this philosophical observation. I don't know if you know, probably yes, this book from Edwin Abbott, Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions, published in 1884. This is the story. The story takes place in two-dimensional world called Flatland, inhabited by geometric shapes, squares, triangles, circles, etc., where the protagonist is humble square. One dimension is the line. Square, there are two dimensions. A cube, there are three dimensions. So the story highlights that residents of Flatland experience their world only as two dimensions, because they can't perceive depth or the third dimension. Every shape looks like a simple line to them. That are all information they have. The novel uses their journey as a metaphor for how our understanding is shaped and sometimes restricted by our perspective and the dimensions we occupy. Just two examples in order to understand me better, if a two-dimensional object moves through one-dimensional world, it will be seen just as a straight line. Here is the circle, 2 dimensions. But if I observe the circle in one-dimension world, I go to observe just this very small about of a red line. If for example, the sphere pass for two-dimension structure, when considering a two-dimensional context, the intersection of a three-dimensional object like a sphere with this plane would be perceived as a two-dimensional shape, in this case, a circle. And from the other hand, this illustration, I think that it's maybe difficult in the first moment. Look to the animation first, and look to the legend here. This illustration how intersections of n-dimensional object with n minus 1 dimensional space behave, for example, as a circle or sphere. Move downward. The red segment or circle grows to its maximum size at the equator. It then, after that, shrinks. So here the problem of dimension is so important for us. In flat land, we can observe the point or the line. It's impossible to observe the square, but we have the perspective from above. It's possible to observe the structure in third dimension. So let's go to the movement in third dimension. I go to show you the very short video from the very large video, 1 hour video that I present in Vancouver, in Canada, in Fascia Research Society Congress. It was the third Fascia Research Society. Very short observation. If I put this camera with this red circle, it means that this subject has a copyright. So you can enjoy it looking what you only want, but please do not use this in other performance. So look to this one. This is a very nice sound. This was 2 minutes and a half.
Andre, we can't hear the sound. Is that all right?
Don't worry about it. So my question is it possible to perform any body movement in biotensegrity process without fascia? So I think that this is the issue, a very important issue. Sorry. Go. So I go now step by step. Layers of fascial construction. Uh, of course, I think that is very difficult question. We have the layers inside our body. This is the dissection. The first part is the skin here. Is dissected and put away. The skin is in a state of constant pretension. It's not in relaxation position and actively participates in body movement. After that, here there are longer lines that are also related to this process. There are parts of maximum tension of the skin. These lines have a dynamic behavior change. Imagine the scar, for example, over the skin, and the changes inside the body in relation to the scar, to the limitation from the scar of the movement. This is the superficial fascia. High in fat, richly vascularized, and also richly innervated. It is a very important point. This is the skin ligaments that relate the skin with the superficial fascia. The first layer, the deep fascia, fibrosis and multi-layer structure, generally 3 layers, is converted to the deeper fascial system of the body, myofascial, neurofascial, viscerofascial. There are collagen structures, muscular fascia, aponeurosis and epimysia. Here we can observe, for example, this is the plantar fascia. Look to the form of the collagen structures. And here, this is the pectoral fascia. Look to the differences between both. So this is the first observation. Of course, with the dissection, it's possible to go to the deep. So here, the left upper corner, you have the gluteus maximum muscle. This is the sacral part. This is the iliac crest. And this is the gluteus medius muscle. Observe the differences in relation to the fascia. The gluteus medius muscle, the fascia is the aponeurotic structure, but over the gluteus maximum, this is the epimysial structure. So because of that in gluteal area, you have a lot of fat. So during the dissection, you broke the fascia, and because of that, we can observe just the fibers of the gluteus maximus muscle. Look to here, this is the deep layer of the gluteus medius muscle, and this is the sacrotuberous ligaments. This is the tuberous sciatic tuberosity, and this is the tendon of the biceps, large head of the biceps femoris, and observe the continuity of the structures. So I'm looking now for the first time with you the discussion of the fascial continuity. This is the close-up of the sacral part. This is, again, sacrotuberous ligaments. And look to the part of the muscles or the fibers of the gluteus maximus muscles inside the collagen structures related to this ligament. So I'm looking for the examples of the continuity from this fascial structure. So if I continue this observation from an anatomical viewpoint, I think that now we discuss the fascia as a discrete anatomical system. So what insights did we gain from this model? I think that is very important information: distinct tissue, layers and aponeurosis, support and separation, and also anatomical signs. But a discrete anatomical system studies groups of body structures working together for a specific function, dividing the body into systems like muscular or nervous system to understand each part. Is it correct to understand the movement? Is it correct to treat the movement or through the movement? So I have more questions here. This observation reinforces the discrete anatomical system model, that this is the model that you can find in the medical dictionaries. We have comprehensive and precise topographical data regarding to the anatomical structures. But, however, this information alone does not adequately account for the functional relevance of fascia. We are looking to the movement. We are looking to the different kind of movement. We are looking to the changes in the movement. We are looking to the, again, treat through the movement and treat the movement. It is necessary to incorporate dynamic aspects that have traditionally been examined from a static perspective. And this is my point of discussion. It's possible to obtain the information related to the movement from the static perspective. So we need other model, fascia as a complex biological system. I'm looking here to the dynamic network from the skin, superficial fascia, and to the deep fascia. I go to show you some samples from anatomical dissections. This is the skin, and this is the superficial fascia. If I, for example, I move now the skin in any part of my body, in the same time, I perform the movement of the superficial fascia. Look at that. This is the pectoral area. This was dissected from this part. And look here. So the movement from the skin, or the movement of the skin, in the same time is the movement of the superficial fascia. It's impossible to move the skin without movement of the superficial fascia. So here, what is the observation from this first example? The skin and superficial fascia move together. The second part, this is the sacroiliac area. Observe that here in the superficial layer, this is a lot of movement. The amount of movement is huge. But look here what's happened in the sacroiliac part. The movement is really small amount, almost impossible to move this area, because the function of the fascia in the level of the pectoral area, I need here a lot of movement, a big amount of movement. But in the sacroiliac part, I need this stabilization. Because of that, here is the anchorage of the fascia, superficial fascia to the deep fascia, and indirectly also to the bone, to the periosteum. This is the third video. This is the anterior aspect of the tide. Look here what's happened. Multi-layer gliding process. Look to the movement here. It's really, really, really big movement. I need this movement to walking, to running, and other form of movement. And this is the cross section of the arm. This is humerus. Look here, this is the territory of the bicep brachii. This is the territory of the triceps brachii. Look the differences in the movement between the biceps area and the triceps area. It's absolutely different. We need more movement in the anterior aspect, when the biceps muscle. And here, look, if we go to the posterior aspect of the arm, we need stabilization. So look at the fascia all the time. The anatomy of the fascia is related to the function. And the function of the fascia is different in any part of the body. Look here, the intermuscular septa. Look to the traction, and this movement goes deep to the periosteum. It's very important information, different amplitude of movement. I think that this is very important. Chris, this is the picture I show you in the audience. This is the back, this is the dorsal part, this is the lumbar part. First of all, look to the different kind density of the vascularization. It's very rich in the interscapular area, very rich in the lumbar area, but not so or any rich in the dorsal area. Also in the gluteal area, this is very poor poor vascularization. This is the skin. This is the inner part of the skin. This is the superficial fascia. This is the line of dissection. Look, I go to move it from the right to the left, and look what happened here. I do not touch the fascia. I touch the skin. So touching and moving the skin in the same time, I can observe the movement of the superficial fascia. So the superficial fascia is fibrous structure firmly attached to the dermis. Along the spinous process, the superficial fascia adheres to the deep fascia. And look to the small picture. Look to the here to the left, this one, the square here. This is this part. This is the line between the superficial fascia and the skin. And look, this is something like the spaces inside the superficial fascia to the fat. Look, and so this is the same movement of the skin, and look as the movement of the skin through the superficial fascia structures transmit the movement to the deeper part or to the deepest part, to the deep fascia. So the movement of the skin is so important to the movement of the muscle, and also important to the movement of the joint, for example. So I go to follow with this observation. Superficial fascia is an elastic structure which easily adapts to the tensional changes in the deep fascia and also to the demands of external force. For example, the pressure that I put from the external part of the body. This is the anterior aspect of the thigh of very, very fatty person. This is the level of the skin, this is the deep fascia, or this is the fat and the superficial fascia with the fat. Look to the movement, look to the gliding movement that is present here. Look to this part. This is that there are very flat structures. This is the skin, this is the movement. And look that there are two kinds of fat, of fatty lobes. This is something like honeycomb, and this is absolutely flat. This flat structure facilitates the gliding process. It's so important situation. So in this situation, if I follow it, it's also the movement inside the superficial fascia. Of course, between different persons, this is absolutely different situation. Sometimes, if you don't have a lot of fat here, it's impossible to observe this process. So the fatty lobes are embedded in the compartments of the fascial network. Structures related to the behavior of the superficial fascia. Inside the superficial fascia, I can find cutaneous veins, cutaneous nerve. I'm sorry. Just a moment, sorry. Here is very interesting part. This is abdominal area of the person without any fat, almost any fat, and these are vein. This is the video. Observe what's happened here. I put the force only over the fascia without touching the vein. And look that the vein is embedded inside the fascia. So again, the changes in the fascia produce the changes in the circulatory system. So look, this very interesting situation. This is the peroneal nerve. Again, look here inside the superficial fascia. It's a prepatellar bursa, again inside the fascia, and the mammary gland also is inside the superficial fascia. So the question is, it's important for the movement, it's important for the treatment to treat the superficial fascia, or we go directly to the joint, to the muscle, to the ligament, so on, so on, so on. So this is the information about the superficial fascia. Look to the difference between the deep fascia. There are a lot of collagen structures, but this is not only layer of this collagen. There are 3 layers of the collagen, and the direction of the collagen structures goes in different directions. The deepest one, it's performed the movement in the same direction as the muscle fibers. But the middle one and the external one look transverse, oblique. So this is very important to the movement, for example, for the patella. Look to the video. I go to put it. I'm sorry. Here. Look what happened with the structures from collagen. This is so important. Not only the force of the muscle, the excellent quality of the muscles. If I have problem, if the fascia structure, it's impossible to perform the correct movement without fascia. So again, this is the posterior aspect of the pelvic area. This is the iliac crest. This is the middle line of the back. This is the sacrum. This is the thoracolumbar fascia. This is the abdominal fascia from abdominal external muscle. This is the gluteus maximus again, and this is the gluteus medius muscle. Look again to the differences. So the movement in relation to the fascia is different in different part, because again, the role of the fascia in each part, in each muscle, in each relation between muscle is absolutely different. So look to the movement now, because I'm looking all the time to the one side. Sorry. Look for that one first. There are perimecia inside the muscle, and I go to put you now to show you the close-up. Look, the fascia is. This is no frozen cadaver. It was less than 72 hours after the death of the person. Look to the fascia. So it's impossible to understand the movement without knowledge related to the fascia in the first moment from the mechanical viewpoint. Compartments. I'm not an anatomist, so sometimes I perform something strange process during the dissection. So I put away here all the structures that are inside these compartments. And I move just the skin with superficial fascia, of course. Look to the transmission of the force from the superficial layer directly to the deep part, directly to the periosteum. So if I'm looking to the changes inside the bone, or changes between bones, the changes in the superficial part of the bone, I need to also include in this discussion the process that happened during the movement with the skin and with the superficial fascia. This is the idea. So I think that this is very important. I put this slide because Fernando tell me, you go to the discussion about biotensegrity. Remember that. And what happened with the osteophyte? So this is the osteophyte. This is the real picture. So the picture, my question is, could abnormal intrinsic and extrinsic stresses lead to osteophyte formation and reflect changes in bone tensegrity dynamics? I think that absolutely yes. This is the example of that. So I'm looking the bone. I'm not looking to the bone as the bone only. I'm looking to the intrinsic structures related to the bone. And here from this part, this was the last slide. This is the thigh. This is the femur. This is femoral artery. Look to the continuity and look to the movement. Look to the gliding process between different kinds of the tissue, between lobus, fat lobus inside the superficial fascia, between the superficial fascia and the deep fascia, between the deep fascia and also, for example, the nerve, or this is here is the sciatic nerve, this is the artery. Look to this close-up, look to the movement. I move the artery, but in the same time, without touching the muscle, there are movement of the muscle. Look, here is the sciatic nerve. Look at the movement from this structure. So again, continuity. Continuity not just from the theoretical viewpoint, from the structure. Continuity in relation to the movement, all kind of movement. So current evidence shows that fascia is continuous, omnipresent network whose structure adapts to each anatomical region. They are so different in different parts, and the body's functional needs also. So, how is possible that the same fascia perform different kind of anatomy and perform different kind of movement? I think that this is a difficult discussion from this point, because I would like to enter to the microstructure. This is the back, this is the gluteal area, this is the lumbar part, this is dorsal part. This is the skin, of course dissected. This is the hammock, this is the superficial fascia, and this is the deep fascia in the lumbar part. This is the level of the iliac crest. So I go to show you now the picture from above of this part. Look at that, this is the fascia. Again, this is no frozen fresh cadaver. So the question is fascia merely an undefined amorphous tissue structure? Look at that. This is the different color because the picture was performed with very good camera, and the video no so good quality. Because of that, but this is the same tissue. So this is merely amorphous structure. But if I show you after that, previously, that the tendon is the fascia, that the ligament is the fascia, that the joint capsule is the fascia, the epimysium is the fascia, the endomysium is the fascia, the perimysium is the fascia. Is it possible? Look to the picture, to the video, sorry. If I need the tendon, I put the force in this direction, and I have a tendon or ligament. If I need the aponeurosis structure, I put the force in different way. This is all the time the same structure. So it's absolutely possible to obtain from the fascia different structure in relation to the movement or other kind of activity. It is important to identify the tissue components and biophysical mechanisms by which fascia transmits and modulates movement, especially in relation to the muscle, organs, and neurovascular structures. I think that these two papers they are so important from 2018 and 2021. They are related to the interstitium. I don't know why you can't listen my the sound from the video. It's very easy without sound. But look,
I think if you want us to be able to hear it, you stop your share, and then before you click share, but before you finish that up, there should be a button on the lower right or a box to tick that says share sound.
here is the.
But you have to leave share
Yes, yes.
this share screen. Oh, we hear it.
Can you listen it? Yes, can you listen?
Yeah.
Susan? Yes, okay.
Between our cells, meet the interstitium, a newly recognized organ that plays a vital role in our body's fluid distribution and immune response.
This intriguing network of fluid-filled spaces acts as both a reservoir and a communicator, connecting organs and tissues in ways we are just beginning to understand. In a groundbreaking study, scientists revealed that this previously ignored compartment may hold clues to various diseases. Imagine the potential discoveries waiting to be made in this uncharted territory of human anatomy.
So for me, it was so important information. A continuous network of fluid-filled interstitial spaces exists within and across organ boundaries throughout the body, allowing it for dynamic response to local, systemic, and external stimuli. So I go again to this picture. Here you have the huge, the whole back. What's happened here? Again, what's happening with these amorph structures? This is the structures, and look to this video. This video is without sound. There's no sound here. I'm sorry. I need to put the video. This is the extracellular matrix. So we have the continuity from the skin up to the DNA inside the cells, into the nucleus of the cells. So I think that's really important for us because here you can find fibers, cells, and receptors, and there are mechanosensitive. We are looking for the movement. So this is so important for us. So I go to follow it. What happened here? Is the other they're not sound here. Cell dynamics. This is the real video from electronic microscope. So the communication through the movement. We have here at the same time three movements between cells, of each of the cell, and inside the cell. And from the cells, our interest in this discussion now today is the myofibroblasts, fasciocytes, and other cells. Why? Because the cells generate, transmit, receive, and respond to mechanical stimuli. This is the idea. So the cells, it's ready to receive the information from outside, from the extracellular matrix, to the cytoskeleton inside the cell. And fundamental question is, how are mechanical stimuli transduced into electronic impulse within the nervous system? So what's happened here? This is our model of biotensegrity in the millimetrical and the big and the small structure inside and outside of the tissue. And I think that the touch and the movement are related from my viewpoint now with three activities: gliding, mechanoreception, and mechanotransduction. And very shortly, I would like to show you why this observation. First of all, the gliding process. Look to the sequence of video. This is the back, this is the scapula, this is inferior angle of the scapula, this is the superficial fascia, or dissected just the skin, no more. Here you have the deep fascia. look to the movement of the deep fascia. It's different, but again, this is the formation of the fascia. And this is the very important observation. Look of that. This is again the scapula, the same part of the body. This is the inferior angle of the scapula. This is the spine of the scapula. This is trapezius muscle. This is the teres minor, minor and major. Look to this space. This is the infraspinatus fascia. Look what happened between this infraspinatus fascia and the trapezius fascia. This is the gliding movement. Imagine if this movement is impossible to obtain. What happened with the whole upper extremity? It will be impossible to perform correct movement. Indirectly, go to the pathology. This is the rhomboid muscle, the trapezius, the latissimus dorsi was out, and look for that. Again, gliding, 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 gliding in each layer of construction. So this is my point. So if I follow this subject, here, this is the question. Which structures enable gliding movement? This is the fascia, the deep part of fascia from the back, from the lumbar area that I showed you previously. Look of that. Again, this is the fresh cadaver, no frozen. In the embalmed cadaver, it's impossible to obtain it. This is viscoelastic structure. This is structure that's ready to move. And this is, this is the movement of the back. Again, fresh cadaver, look, the dissection only the skin, it was dissected, and the superficial fascia. Look, the gliding movement here. This is the anterior aspect of the thigh. Again, look to the movement in the same time in different layer of construction, and the movement probably something like this. This is the dense connective tissue. This is the dense connective tissue, and between them, and very, very small, loose connective tissue with the possibility to perform, to facilitate better the gliding movement. Of course, again, the question is what the research tells us about it. There are very interesting papers related to this subject, fasciocite and hyaluronic acid. There are the fasciocyte, this is the fibroblast, and to look for that. Fasciocytes are cells involved in the synthesis of hyaluronic acid, essential for the fascial gliding movement. Hyaluronic acid maintains hydration and elasticity in the extracellular matrix, with fasciocytes controlling its production through the calcium HLS2 axis, linking mechanical and biochemical signals. It is central structure, acting as a mediator of hydration and viscoelasticity in the extracellular matrix. This cellular plasticity allows fascia to adapt to local mechanical and biochemical demands, forming specialized fascial plans according to the function and according to the movement. So, the first activity is the gliding process. The second one, mechanoreception. Cellular biology, cellular communication. What do we have here? Sorry, this is the cell membrane. This is the ion channel. This is the inside of the cells, the cytoskeleton. This is the outside of the cells. This is the matrix. This is the force. Ion channels detect mechanical force and play a key role in sensing touch, pain, somatosensitivity, sound, hearing, temperature, and poor stress, cardiovascular as example. From 2021, we have very important information from this gentleman, Arda Patapautian, who received a Nobel Prize in Medicine for his discovery of touch receptors. This discovery is very important, offering important insight into the mechanism by which mechanical forces trigger nerve impulses that enable human perception and adaptation to the environment. He identified a novel class of receptors that respond to mechanical stimuli in both the skin and internal organs, thereby providing essential insight into the relationship between sensory perception and environmental interaction. Very slowly, these receptors, the name is piezo, are mechanoreceptors protein mechanically activated. Piezo 1 and Piezo 2. Piezo 1 opens under mechanical pressure and helps us monitor blood pressure and bladder fullness. Piezo 2 ensemble touch sensation. This is so important for us and also is present in proprioception. Again, this is the picture from the page of Nobel Prize. This is the skin. This is the membrane of the cell. This is the integrin is closed, and piezo 1 or piezo 2, if you put the force, can open, and it's possible to perform the movement through the ion channels inside the structure of the cell. When mechanical force is exerted on the cell membrane, these receptors are activated, facilitating the influx of ion into the cell and initiating an action potential across the membrane. There are a lot of very good papers published in the last years in relation to this issue. Just here, the piezo 1 related to the brain, to the astrocyte, to the lung, to the gastrointestinal tract, and so on, and piezo 2, and this is important for us, is related to the Merkel cell of the skin. And this, look to this connection. Piezo 2 is related to the changes inside the joint in relation to the cartilage. But also piezo 1 is related with this one. So this is again the picture from the web page, the Nobel Prize. In relation to the piezo 2, they are related to the touch, proprioception, mechanical pain, urination, respiration, blood pressure, skeletal remodeling. So imagine how important for us is the extracellular matrix. And the extracellular matrix is the most important part of the fascial structure. And this fascial structure, it performs the movement as the biotensegrity structure. There are some just examples of the processes related to the piezo 1 and piezo 2, and what happened during the process of touch, changes in proprioception, changes in mechanosensitivity. And the last part, mechanotransduction. This is the membrane of the cell. This is the outside, and this is the inside, cytoskeletal here, extracellular matrix here. Piezoreceptors help cells communicate and detect mechanical signals and enabling multicellular organization. This is the enter to the interior part of the cell. Mechanotransduction is the process by which cells convert mechanical stimuli into electrical, chemical, thermal, biochemical, or optical signals, allowing them to adapt to the physical changes in their environment. So this is very important part. This is the example I show you in the other slide. Piezo 2 and Merkel cells. This is the Merkel cells. This is the piezo 2. This is the epidermis. If I touch very slowly, with very small amount of force, I can observe the activation of the piezo in Merkel cells. And this facilitates the movement of the ion of the calcium, for example, create the action potential and go to the higher part of the nervous system. Sensory neurons express high levels of piezo 1 and piezo 2, which control ion channels that are directly activated by extension of pressure on the cell membranes here. Piezo 2 expressed in Merkel cell of the skin where mechanical activation of piezo mediates the polarization and activation of dorsal root ganglion here, cell afferents, which also express piezo2. Together, these cells are involved in sensing light, touch, and proprioception. So, again, we are with our proposal of different kind of definition of the fascia. We discuss, first of all, direct, discrete solely anatomical system, and now we finish the complex biological system. This observation related to the fascia as a complex biological system create more questions about the fascial microstructure. The Life published the last month a very interesting article, very interesting papers related to this issue. Here you have the three of that I would like very shortly discuss with you. One of that, it was from Graham Scarr, from John Sherky and Karen Krickness, and Dr. John Claude Gimbertot. First of all, from John Sharkey, stochastic nature of fascia. I understand now that I speak for more than 1 hour, so you are tired, but I need to take your chance to 5 slides more to
I think
finish this part.
please finish. Please, we would love to see your slides.
Okay, so
yes, everybody's good with that. Mariana, you're the only one I can see, but this is a fascinating presentation, and we would love to.
Thank you very much, Chris. Stochasticity, fascia dual nature, stochastic in the micro level and deterministic in the macro level. This is the picture from this paper. Calcium has to CHA communication. Mechanical stress activates calcium channels. It was related to the piezos, for example, then drive uric acid production, creating a feedback loop to shape tissue mechanics. And the other one, very nice diagram here, fasciicides and ET plasticity, shift between migratory go and stationary grow, states by epithelial mesenchymal transition, and its reverse, this is MET. And finally, the last part of this paper, it is very large paper, very interesting, manifest the tool context flexible nomenclature to bridge traditional and modern perspective. Here is this proposal of the third part of different kind of definition of fascia. So morphogenetic field, fluidity and adaptation, growth and remodeling, development biology, and so on, so on. And now, the last one, body-wide fibrillar architecture in vivo intra-tissue endoscopy. This is from Dr. Gimbertot. Here you have the subject, the example. I go very quickly here because I know that you have a lot of information from Dr. Gimbertot example of the fascia. I think that this video is very important because when he cut the edges of the aponeurosis, it retracts like an elastic band showing dynamic internal pressure. So in this way, sorry, because yes, sorry, very sorry. So the last one, the compartment and fibrillar polyhedral architecture of fascia, closed chain kinematics. This is from Graham Scarr, very quickly. Tense network that contain the connect specialized compartments, heterarchy of compartments, fascia as an architectural framework. Of course, very important closed chain kinematics, and the last observation from Graham, facilitation from this paper, I enjoy it very much, functional distinction between cell and compartment. I think it's very, very, very important point. And now, this is my definition. For me, fascia is omnipresent, highly hydrated, richly innervated, and vascularized network with contractile capabilities, remarkable complex biological system that enables communication, interaction, adaptation, protection, resilience throughout the body within the environment. The external information is also so important for the fascia, and this it was also so important to the movement. And now, just a moment, I go to stop sharing for one moment. And Chris, I would like to discuss with you and take the decision. Just a moment here. I told you that my presentation was pretty large.
Yes, we're enjoying it.
Yes. Yes, I go to show you where we are.
Yeah,
Okay.
nobody's in a hurry. We're all happy.
Look, we are here.
Wait, I can't see. I see
And
all,
here
you're not sharing your screen at the moment.
7, 14, 20 slides. They are pretty quick. There are 3 or 4 that are slow because a lot of information.
I think everybody wants to see them.
Okay, it's if you permit me, so we go. Fair,
Yes, please.
It's no important. Fair, no, fair. Show me the message. So
And as you're bringing your share screen up again,
yes.
I'll
I'm
just
here.
let you know Fernando is here.
Yes,
And also, if anybody has to pop off the call, this is available on YouTube through the Biotensegrity Archive YouTube channel. So whenever you're ready, we're very pleased to watch the rest of your presentation. In fact, I think people will be coming back to watch it again because there's so much in there.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very.
Okay, I'm going to ask you before you start speaking to take your cursor up and click on the button that says Use Slideshow, and then we'll see a larger image.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Use slideshow.
Oh, what just happened, Mariana?
Yes, it's okay now?
No, your share just stopped. You have to do that first, Mariana?
Oh.
I think
No,
Mariana can tell us.
I'm just saying to share the sound even as well.
Let me see.
No, Professor. Good evening, everyone. Good morning.
Hi, Fernando. Wonderful to see you here.
Hola, Fer.
Thank you very much. Hey, Mariana.
Hey, Fer.
Hey, Susan, Chris. Graham,
Hi,
Dr. Lane.
hugs.
Good evening, everyone. Professor, we don't see your screen. You need to share
Can
again.
you see this? Can you see the screen or no?
No, we cannot.
No. Okay. I go to put it again.
You need to share again.
Yes.
I'm going to explain 1 second.
Yes, I know how.
I click sound if we need sound.
Sure.
Here. Okay, here.
There. Yes.
Yes, it's okay now?
It's great.
It's going. Está entrando. Y ahora, ¿le da el play?
Yes, the change of the slide. You can observe it or no?
Yes, it's very good.
So I can follow with
now it's perfect. Now it's perfect.
Okay. Just there are 3 subjects to discuss. It's the same complicated system and complex system. This is my question. Living organisms exist within and suprasystem and are themselves systems of subsystems. So this is the difference between complicated and complex. It is not the same. So solution for complicated problem often fall or make things worse when applied to the complex system. And sometimes in the therapeutic process, for example, we use the tools from complicated system in order to the complex system. Without this complexity And in its role as a communicator, the facial system provides an environment that enables the integrated functioning of all body system, thereby facilitating movement. I'm looking for this situation. So when I'm looking to this, look now the next slide, Starling and cells. Look, this is the same mechanism. The coordination, the movement of each one and between them. Sometimes I think that somebody is impossible that no, it is not science. It's beautiful, but it's not science. Look of that. Metaphors are very important in science because they help people to reason. This is the sentence from Giorgio Parisi. Who is Giorgio Parisi? It's Nobel Prize in Physics from 2021. And this is beautiful book from him, in Flight of Starlings, The Wonder of Complex System. Very quickly, the most important observation from this work from Parisi. Definition of complex system, interaction between disorder and fluctuations, micro-macro connection and emergency, phase transition and disorder system, and finally, self-induced spin glasses. What's happened with, and what is the spin glasses? From Parisi, there are 4 states of matter: the solid, the liquid, the gaseous, and the plasma. And the plasma is self-induced spin glasses, a new state of matter. What does it mean? Self-induced spin glasses. The word glass is the name, comes from the design similarities in that the atoms are arranged amorphously in a piece of ordinary glass. This is the ordinary magnet. There are structures inside the magnets in orientation in the one line. And this is self-induced spin glasses. This is the chaos. But this chaos is not the same all the time. This chaos change along the time with aging. So in this situation, this is just the expression of this process. This process in very small layer is the very small particle layers, and observe the observation, the relation to this video. The atomic spins of neodymium, that is related to the magnet, rotate like a helix at different speeds, and the shape of that helix is constantly changing. This is the situation you observe in some video from dissection from fascia. Look of that. Look to this example. Observe how the droplets move. They are constantly bumping into each other. There is no describable pattern, but the same physical rules that govern these droplets can also govern the behavior of bacteria, the flight of the flock of the starlings, school of fish, intercellular dynamics, or any self-organizing system such as our own body. Because of that, the laws are universal. And now, this is the question. Where does biotensegrity fit it now? Again, this is not the model of the tensegrity. It's just the model of the movement in the same time in different structure. There are characteristics of biotensegrity that you know much better than me. But I would like to read you the last sentence. The tension with the facial tissue is variable, continually adjusting in response to the requirements of movement expression, including emotional expression as a form of movement. Because of that, I go to use this model. Thank you, Fernando, for the model. I know that you don't like it because the stick is stiff. And I understand that for the model, for the expert of biotensegrity, this is no very good situation. So I'm looking, I go to show you what I go to discuss with this model, but I know that this model, there are sticks in this situation, look of that. So there are movement inside the sticks, and this movement inside the sticks, there's exotic behavior. So please understand why this discussion. So now very quickly, I think that it's easy, but I think for me it's very important to close our discussion today. This is the tensegrity structure. If I perform the force, the forms, the tensegrity structure change. And if I perform more force, it's change more. So the tensegrity system responds in emergent situation in reaction to the stress. Maybe it's the mechanical stress. We discuss now the mechanical stress. Maybe it's other stress. Emergency resources must end, and when the emergency is resolved, the system must optimize homeostasis. So if I have this situation, this is the state of physiological pretension, is perfect. And now if I apply the force of traction or compression, the form change. Stability through change. I need the stability. I need the movement. I need the activity, but it's not the same. The stability through change, because this movement, this force applied. And here we have the quality of the extracellular matrix in perfect condition will determine the capacity or margin for adaptation. This arrow is very big, so the adaptation in the healthy structure is pretty big. But if I start with this one, this is the state of increased pretension. This is temporary pretension. So this same movement, the traction and compression, the result is different. So decreased adaptability margin. But if I have the state of incessant pretension, so the traction and the compression is absolutely different. And the margin is very, very small. This is the state of the extracellular matrix and all the structures inside this extracellular matrix. So systemic interoceptive response create neuroimmune response, neuroendocrine response, neuromotor response. And as a result, we have also changes in the emotion, perception, behavior, and of course, finally, the movement. So the prolonged stress of relentless tension is the price the body pays for being forced to adapt the adverse situation. If for me, this is the issue of fascia. But to understand it, it's only possible through the biotensegrity model. So here, this is the framework of this structure. So I go to pass this slide. It's not so important. And I would like to show you my idea of the fascia as the biotensegrity structure. It's the video, no sounds, only my voice. So look of that. This is the title, Fascia as Complex Biological System. This is the anatomy structure from the fresh cadaver. Look of that. And this is the close-up. This is the real picture. Close-up 10 times. Gilberto observed the tissue 25. This is minus 10 times. And this is the digitalization of this part. And there are totality. This is one of the most important part of the system. Goes beyond just the specific traits of each component. The second activity, synergy. Any change in one of parts affects all others, and occasionally the entire system. The third one, negative entropy, negantropy, a measure of the wear and tear the system undergoes over time or through its function. it disappears. But after that, we can observe the other structure. Living systems remain in a stable state of care and can prevent an increase in entropy, developing towards states of greater order and increasing the organization. And this is the new situation. From the older structures, purpose, systems share common goals. Equifinality, system modification are independent of the initial conditions. I think with our body all the time is this process. Feedback, constant exchange of the information. Information travel inside the body through the fascia. It's no neural communication. Equipotentiality allows remaining parts to assume the function of the lost or extinguished part. And you can observe with the scar after the surgery, after amputation. And homeostasis, the tendency to remain stable. I can change and be back to the optimal situation. And this is, for me, other principle of biotensegrity. Morphogenesis, tendency to change along in our life, during the age, all the time we change. So this is my idea. And I would like to put there are only 2 slides more. Equilibrium versus stability is very important for me to finish with this reasoning. From Nassim Nicholas Taleb, The Human is Biological Reality. So, what is the goal of the therapeutic process? Return balance, equilibrium to the body. This is the goal. Optimize homeostasis. Is it the goal? Which one? So, balance, equilibrium. This is the definition from the any dictionary. The state of body or physical system to rest, at rest solely, or in accelerated motion, in which the resultant of all forces acting on it is zero, and the sum of all torques about any axis is also zero. Stability. They remain unchanged. This definition of balance, for me, to the fascia, it's not correct. Stability, with this definition, it's not correct. The second definition of stability, static, motionless, fixed, remaining in one place. I don't like it. But the stability, there are also the third definition. Look of that. Stability is the ability to maintain and or recover a certain orientation after suffering a disturbance, optimizing homeostasis. Homeostasis is not identical to the concept of balance. On the contrary, the term stasis refers to stability in dynamic biological system. And this is my point. And this is the end of our presentation. Look of that, the body without fascia, and when I put the fascia inside and outside in all the places in the macro, micro level of construction, this is the whole body. So the question that I put in the discussion and the end, and this is defining fascia as a complex biological system effectively addresses and fulfills, in my opinion, the intended objectives that we discussed in the beginning. So which model? Essential model of the fascia is the same slide. Which of that? I go to read it, the last sentence. Developing ideas involves an internal dialogue with imagined critics, fostering a pluralistic space where multiple perspectives challenge and refine the thoughts. Sometimes these internal objections can be stronger than the original idea. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you. Fantastic. really shows how come you're such a beloved teacher. There's so much in there, and thank you for bringing the conversation to the end of your slides, because we wouldn't have wanted to miss that.
I'm very sorry that was so large. 20 minutes
No.
more than I think. But there are a lot of subjects. I think that in the discussion you need to put all things to take the possibility to discuss.
Yeah, I think you really do need to fill it out, to give the complete view that you've got. Do you have a couple more minutes to maybe take one or two questions?
For me, it's okay.
Susan, I know you were going to collect the questions and send them to us. Are you still able to do that?
Yes, I'm looking to the.
Yeah, I'm going to put
Okay,
it.
great.
There are only two, so I'm going.
Okay, that's perfect.
The first one.
I think this will be a tea party that's watched again and again.
Sorry, because disappears the question. Okay. Let me read that. In your model of movement, do you design the different types of information from specific origin of fascia may inform different contribution to self-image? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Fascia is one structure. I think that sometimes in the medical language, the word is fascias. 2, 5, of 10 or 20. Of course, I have the forearm fascia and the arm fascia, but this is one structure. But this one structure, continuous structure, without any interruption, is different in any part of my body. It's different inside my brain and inside during my spine, and different in the one part of my foot, for example. Absolutely, Elizabeth, good question. Bob, when doing myofascial induction therapy, how do you determine where to treat? Ah, nice. And do you try to treat restrictions in the various fascial layers differently, or do you try to treat all the layers together? It's very, very good question. Very, very difficult question. I would like to answer you. And the first, my first answer, you go to don't like it. I put my hand in any part of the body. And during the treatment, I learning all the time the movement. And the movement, step by step, relate tensional lines to very precise point. That this point, it not should be the muscle with the name, not should be just in the superficial layer, is the area. And looking this area, I treat this part, but I can treat it directly if I know where this area is present, observing the movement during the treatment, during the session, or I can treat in remote control from any part to the part when, for example, the pain is present. It's not correct to touch the patient in this way. It's no any different kind of process. I'm looking for the word in English. Just a moment.
Andrzej, we have so many. Mariana and
Yes.
Fer are here. You can say it in Spanish. Somebody will help.
No. The word is in English. Yes, I close to that. Okay, this is the process in English. I prefer the word in English, not Spanish. In Spanish is very, very bad. It's an unwinding process. And so I'm looking to the unwinding process. And in relation to the unwinding, we have in the last years very good information what happened that what is the relation between all neural structures in our body, the brain and the peripheral structure. But this is for the other meeting in BiotensegriTea family. It's difficult, but Normally, but I would like to answer to Bob. I'm looking for the balance and the first part of the first part where I treat the patient, and I'm looking to this place for more stiffness. I start with that, but it's impossible to tell that I go to finish in this same part. How about?
Hello, Andres. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. I enjoyed your workshop in New Orleans and our chance to speak there too. I thank you for the answer. I'm a manual therapist as well and treat a variety of things. So I totally understand your answer. I just wanted to see what your opinion is. No, I think when your hand is on the tissue, through haptic perception, you can find the lines of force, and you can eventually localize, where you need to be based on that's there. So I just wanted to ask it in general just to see, but no, I understand your answer and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan, there are more questions, yes?
There's another one from Elizabeth. Elizabeth, did you want to come up? You don't have to.
No, the first question was from Elizabeth. Did I answer her?
Yeah.
And Susan, remember, he wants to have it written down as well.
Yeah, I believe I put it in the text.
Okay.
Do you see it? Yes, Elizabeth had a follow-up question. At a whole body level, what position would be considered homeostasis?
Do you have here this question?
Yes, in the chat to you, I put it.
In the chat, yes, I'm looking to the chat. New chat.
And Elizabeth, I think you must be talking about a body shape that we could make.
Susan, I think you posted to his private chat, not in the full chat, so that's why he's not finding.
Susan, I only had one question and it was beautifully answered. And I only sent a direct message to Andrzej Pilat congratulating him, bravo, a tour de force previewing the future of therapeutic touch and movement, because I couldn't figure out how to tell it to everybody. So I just told him, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I must have misread. Oh, this is from, well, now I've lost the question. So, okay. Yeah. Oh, Elizabeth Walker. I'm so sorry. It's from Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth. And Elizabeth Walker, I will unmute you or ask you to unmute if you like.
I had a question about the whole body. If all these structures are coming into homeostasis, is there like one position that the body is just trying to come back to?
Yeah, Elizabeth, can you come on camera? And Elizabeth, I think it would be helpful if you just tell Andrzej what it is you do, kind of like what frames your question,
Okay. I am looking at metamaterials that are based off biomimetic structures. And so I'm looking at a lot of these little micro structures and trying to figure out how they mechanically work.
So Elizabeth is a designer of materials and structures and other cool stuff.
So I think that the best structure, the scientist, is the human body. So I think that the thinking of artists and the thinking about the person who work with the patient with the fascia is very similar. I spent a lot of time with this huge book, and sometimes without any answer for what happened, how can I put the information? And I asked dancers, gymnastic, the person, for example, that being as you, and architecture, astronomy, and so on, so on. So I think that the processes are equal in any activities. And I think that the art, any art, is the tensegrity structure. All the time, this is the cooperation between the whole. So I think that the treatment that we perform with the fascial structure, there's a creation of the movement. And this creation of the movement, imagine, for me, for example, in the Congress in New Orleans, it was the big surprise for me because the person that comes to the Congress related to the fascia, there are, again, engineers, trainers, sportsmen, medical doctor, physical therapist, chiropractor, painters, and so on, so on, so on, because the process is almost the same. And imagine, believe me, that in the situation when I have the problem, how can I understand it? I was looking to the person from arts. And maybe we have the same level of how is it called it? Imagination. You like it?
It's a good word.
Because this is the creation. Each treatment, for me, each treatment is creation of something new. I have the elements. The elements, it's whole process related to the patient. And with that, I would like to create the art. The art, it's, for example, change the patient pain or change the patient ability to move to the better movement. So all the time is the creation. Because of that, I think that biotensegrity, it's so nice to understand it. Because from other viewpoint, I think it's very difficult to tell it. Happy?
So it sounds like the movement is actually what's creating the homeostasis.
Yes.
The homeostasis is following
that's it.
The way the body moves. Okay.
Again, this is the vibration. There are pieces. These are the receptors all the time. Okay?
Right. Great. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for question.
We're going to bring Mariana back up for a question. Let's see. Mariana, I thought I had you as a...
I think I can pin myself.
But I also put the question in the chat, Andrzej, so it's written down.
I'm curious if during
I'm gonna just
Maria,
quickly
tell me in English.
Okay, go ahead.
If it's difficult, tell me in Spanish. You go to translate it.
I'm curious if during the dissections that you have performed, have you ever encountered? I love when you were showing the continuity of, I would call, septums all the way to the periosteum and how that was like firmly anchored there. Have you ever encountered a specimen in which that connection is loose or not well attached? I don't know how you want to say it.
Yeah, absolutely. For example, if you imagine any joint, the knee. If you put your hands and perform the process, the treatment, it's absolutely normal to feel what's happened inside. What is the argumentation from me? For example, I put my hands over the knee, and after that, I'm looking, there are no movement, there are no changes in temperature, but I can hear here changes in the hyaluronic acid inside the joint. So any part of response not should be mechanical all the time. Should be thermical, should be electrical, should be electronic. So again, mechanotransduction, it's the input with force, but the response not should be mechanical. It's possible that the response is mechanical or no. So there are possible any change of any kind of changes. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in the dissection, in la disección.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that we are just. I'm curious about. I work with kids with cerebral palsy, and if there's a test that I do with all of them, that I move the skin with the tissues underneath, and there is no limit. Like, I can go and go. Nothing stops me from moving. Eventually it stops, but I feel like that connection that you were describing, that to me is key into the organization of the compartments, if any ways. So I was just curious if you have ever tested that in different, like if that is something that is always kind of the same, or if there is variations, if there's a pathology or something involved.
It's different. In the cadaveric study, and the person is different because the detention, the level of detention, the 0, 1, it's absent, it's lower. So because of that, you cannot perform it. Even with the anesthesia, the patient during the surgery, for example, and the patient after the surgery, the movement is also different. Because this basic tension that you have now as a healthy person is absent. So it's very, very difficult to compare or take the information, the real information, precise information from cadaver and translate it to the living person. It's very, very difficult. I think that's the way of testing and the research. It's related with different kind of image from ultrasound, for example. I think that from this kind of movement we go to take more information than from cadaveric study.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. I love this. Thank you.
Thank you. Should we invite up Jan? Jan? Sorry, my pronunciation is bad.
Yeah, we can do that if I can find him.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we cannot see you. Can you turn your camera on?
Yes, I will.
Because you're both there, right?
Yes, we are, but I don't have permission to turn on my video. I don't know why.
We have to ask, I think. And
I got it. Ask to start video.
Can you also pin?
Yeah, we are here.
I'm gonna add spotlight.
Or spotlight. There we go. Thank you.
There we go. So thank you, Professor. So I'm very thankful to hear all your knowledge sharing with us like today. It has been amazing. I have a question for you. I get fascinated when you touch base on the Carlos Castañeda book of the magical passes, because I have been reading and practicing on myself a lot of these movements. And my question for you is going to be related with your clinical practice, on your experience with fascial and visceral manipulation, modern visceral manipulation. How have you observed changes in organs, in mobility, visceral motion? And if those motions on your practice, you have been able to see changes in breathing patterns, posture, emotional states, self-regulation, and stuff like that on your experience?
I think that all the time you treat the whole body. I think that it's difficult to say. Today I go to treat the stomach, for example, or the heart, or other viscera. If I perform the movement in the abdominal area, you touch the skin, you touch the all muscles, abdominal muscles. So if you think that you perform the process, the technique to the abdominal muscle, and without any reaction from the viscera, you are wrong. Maybe the process of changes and the level of muscle is not important. That your impulse, your correct impulse, goes directly to the viscera. So I don't think that it's possible to separate, if you put in any part of the body, the movement, the movement, not your contact, but the movement during the treatment, just to one kind of tissue. All tissue you go to observe the changes. And sometimes if you perform, for example, the movement of, treatment of the sacroiliac area, it's possible that the bladder change the activity? Absolutely yes. For example, the next week I have the workshop in the master degree in pelvic floor structures. So the students ask me, okay, the fascia is inside the structure of pelvic floor. Let's go to the inside, to the cavity, to the vagina, to the anus, and so on, so on. My answer is that it's the very big mistake, because the problems related to the fascial tissue in the pelvic area, there are problems from the whole structure of thoracolumbar fascia. So if you go from the abdominal structures, muscles, fascia, from the posterior aspect, you go to the pelvis, you go to the gluteus majorus, you go to the anus, you go to the coccyx. First of all, you need to treat the external structure, because the internal structure has problems because the external structure was in the incorrect situation. So for me, if you need to treat the viscera, first treat the superficial structure. Test the patient, look to the dysfunction, treat this dysfunction superficial layer, and next go to the deep. Happy? Dime, Daniela.
Quiero mucho.
No.
Solamente le quiero
Vale.
decir que muchas gracias. Qué disfrute tan grande escucharlo. Y pues algunas preguntas que tengo se las voy a hacer saber
Okay.
por vía email para darle espacio a otras personas.
Okay.
Abrazo, lo quiero.
Besito.
Okay, thank you. I would love to call Fernando up to say hello. Susan's not on screen right now, so she may have
But
gone
he
off.
says I asked him, he says he's
Yeah, I'm about to leave. Chris,
Oh.
Susan, Mariana, Carol, Graham, Bob, Dr. Levin, and Professor Pilat. Good
Well,
evening,
we're
good
happy to
morning,
see you.
everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy listening to the boss.
Very much
Professor
so.
Pilat. He hits you so much at the brain.
He has the business
So-
with me next week, so because of that, this.
Yeah, we see each other next week, Professor. No, it's a pleasure to hear him as usual. You always learn things with Professor Pilat, even though I've been hearing them for long years. In this presentation is my very first time I heard about these spin glasses. So
Good name.
I presume you will need to see it again once and again to get all the information. So congratulations, Professor. It was a great presentation. Thank you very much for sharing with us.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you very much to the Biotensegrity Archive, always to keep on pushing this kind of environments.
Thank you for
Thanks for, okay. I think we have one last question. We're past 2 hours now, but go ahead, Jeroen.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It was really a journey of recognition. So I wanted to put a little bit of spotlight on the connection with process physics. which is a physics of connectivity. And it basically has the same metaphysics of oneness and holistic, pluralistic connectivity as you are proposing here, I guess. And it is also based on Parisi's work. So the Nobel laureate Parisi, who worked on a stochastic quantization procedure for quantum field theory. So stochasticity comes back as well as a fundamental principle of connectivity networks. So this is operates at the base level according to this stochastic quantization procedure. And so we get a holo cooperational network or holo communicative network of connectivity with background and foreground connectivity all wrapped in one as an integrated whole, actually, more or less. So I just wanted to chip that in as background info. Hope it can be useful.
And what's the name of the
Absolutely.
field? Again, the name of the field you're in?
It's a process physics by
Process.
Reginald K.
Right.
By Reginald Kale, which is he's a Australian professor of physics.
I think that, and from me, the congratulations to you that you have a group with the person with different professions, different interests, with the possibility to discuss the same subject. So I think that the role of Parisi and it's huge. For me, it was very difficult to the preparation of this speech and the presentation. Because if I go to the chiropractors, I know the language. Go to the physical therapist, I go to the language, and so on, so on, so on. But here, I pass a lot of time looking for each slide, and from the other side, I'm not expert in any of this subject. So it's very difficult to put it together correctly. So imagine the person as you, for example, or other person that are expert in this. It's very difficult to discuss. So I spent a lot of time reading and reading and reading to take the security that the sentence, 2 lines, is correct. It's not only my idea or my dreams. So thank you very much for observation.
Thank you. Well, it's sometimes a struggle to be a generalist, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please.
Steve, I see you've got your camera on. Did you want to say anything?
I just want to thank Andrzej for such a wonderful presentation. I loved all the illustrations besides just, the information. So that was really very special. Andrzej and I had a wonderful lunch back in, I think it was 2019, we're in Madrid, and that's the first time we got together and really talk. And frankly, there's a lot more I have to talk to you about, but we have to do that at another time.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I think I have a photo here somewhere. Where did it go? Oh,
Obviously, the influence the
I
way
had it all set
we
up
read
and now
the
it's
managed
disappeared.
pattern of collapse.
Here. Here we go. We've got some photos that Steve sent. There you go, the 3 of you.
There's.
I had that up and open and somehow it disappeared.
Wow, it's so beautiful place.
What a great shot.
And good food, huh?
Excellent food.
And a beautiful model on the table.
Yes, it
Yes.
was.
I don't know who performed this model, but very, you're so young. We both do not change, and you are
Right.
changing. I don't know what happened.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
nice.
Steve, would you like to give, or who's going to give the closing toast? Is Mariana up to do
I
that?
think Mariana's going to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you, Andrzej, for such an amazing presentation that we'll all have to revisit again. There's so much in there. And like other people have said, the spin glass I was not familiar with. And Steve's been talking a lot about events, and that's what immediately came to mind for me, energy and events and
soft matter.
And soft matter and the stuff, the structure is being
is.
emerging from that. So
Condensed matter. I think that's
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah.
yeah,
That's it. That's
so
it.
much here. But with that, we're gonna pass the mic to Mariana.
Ok. Por todas las mentes brillantes que se unen, I'll do it in English later, que se unen en este espacio para avanzar la ciencia y para crear nuevas ideas que revolucionen la manera en cómo entendemos el cuerpo humano. To all the brilliant minds that come to this space and share wonderful ideas to advance the understanding of the human being.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much. It was big pleasure to spend with you. It's very interesting to take the possibility to tell what you think, because sometimes in different situation, not everybody like what you present. So I think that the atmosphere and imagines what is the hour, and you are here. Thank you very much. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank